Story recapped here. Today I'm gonna explain an action, adventure, and science fiction film called Dune. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. In the distant future, Princess Irulan explains that the universe is ruled by Emperor Shaddam IV, her father. The spice melange, which extends life and increases psychic abilities, rules the universe politically and economically. The spice is crucial to space travel and other operations in deep space. The Spacing Guild and its foresighted alien navigators use the spice to fold space and instantly guide interstellar ships to any location in the universe. Melange can only be found on Arrakis, commonly known as Dune, which is a dry and desolate planet. The residents of Dune, the nomadic tribe known as the Fremen, have a legend about a messiah from another world who would fulfill their salvation. In the year 10,191, the guild dispatches a navigational emissary to the planet Kaitane to meet with the emperor about a threat to the spice production. The emperor confidentially reveals his plans to eradicate one of the noble households, the Atreides. With his rising popularity, Duke Leto Atreides is suspected of building a hidden army equipped with sonic weapons, posing a threat to the emperor. Shaddam's strategy is to give the Atreides possession of the planet Arrakis so they may mine the spice, then ambush them with the Harkonnens, their longtime adversaries. However, the navigator orders the emperor to assassinate Duke Leto's son instead, Paul Atreides, because he poses a threat to the spice production. The Bene Gesserit sisterhood is alarmed since Paul is a product of their breeding effort to create the superhuman Kwisatz Haderach. A Bene Gesserit reverend mother named Gawis Helen Mohiam, who is also the emperor's advisor, plans to visit to see Paul. Caladlan is a planet filled with bodies of water and is home to the House Atreides. While in his room, Paul's advisors, Thufir, Dr. Yue, and Gurney visit him as ordered by his father. Gurney puts him to the test in hand-to-hand combat and talks to Thufir about Paul's incredible powers in preparation for his manhood trials. Paul is perplexed as to why the Harkonnens would cede Arrakis to the Atreides, but he recognizes that the family must travel there. Thufir explains that the journey is essential because of the prospect of a new army. Before the journey, Paul meets with his father to bid goodbye to him and wish him luck. Lady Jessica, Paul's mother, is also a member of the Bene Gesserit and Duke Leto's concubine. Paul is put to the test when Mother Mohiam arrives in Caladlan, worrying Jessica as her son may not endure her challenges. With a lethal Gom Jabbar at his throat, Paul places his hand in a box that causes severe pain. He fights the impulse to withdraw his hand and passes the test to Mohiam's delight. Mohiam informs Paul about the water of life, which is bile from the giant Arrakis worms. No one has ever drunk it and lived. It can only be drunk by the Kwisatz Haderach, the actual messiah, who, according to the Fremen, will lead them out of oppression. In another planet named Giedi Prime, home of the House Harkonnen, Baron Harkonnen plots his evil plan against House Atreides. He plans on hiring a traitor within House Atreides who will kill the Duke for him. His assistant, Peter, brings in Fade and Rabban, the Baron's nephew suitable for attacking their enemies. He tasks the men to crush House Atreides after assuming control of the planet. The Atreides family kickstarts their journey and leaves their home planet. They travel to a planet almost the opposite of their home. When Leto arrives on Arrakis, his right-hand man, Duncan, informs him that the Fremen have been underestimated. They are vast in numbers and could prove to be great allies. Early into their stay, Leto and Paul visit the mining site for a quick spice mining inspection. They meet with Dr. Kynes, the mining leader, and he teaches them how to use their suit for breathing properly in the desert. While they ride an aircraft en route to a remote area, two officials receive a signal from Harkonnens. They see a gigantic worm attack a spice mining ship. When the mining facilities are destroyed, Duke Leto orders an evacuation rather than sacrificing life in an attempt to preserve the valuable spice. Dr. Kynes and the rest of the Fremen staff trust and recognize him, after saving several of the workers by transporting them on a shuttle before the facility is destroyed. In Paul's room, he saves a housekeeper, Shaddam Mapes, from being hit with a levitating injection meant to target him. To thank him for saving his life, Shaddam warns Paul that a traitor is in his midst, making him speechless and confused. While his troops prepare for battle with the Harkonnens, Leto walks along the headquarters to check on everyone. In one of the hallways, he sees Shaddam lying almost lifeless on the floor. He runs to her rescue, but someone from a distance shoots poison at him. Dr. Wellington Yue reveals himself as a Harkonnens traitor within House Atreides and disables crucial shields. It leaves the House Atreides unprotected from its enemies. Baron Harkonnen is a target of Yue's vengeance for the death of his wife. life, and he can do it by manipulating Leto. He intends to kill the Baron by implanting a poison gas capsule in Leto's teeth, which he will use to control the Duke's movements. The Harkonnens begin an invasion on Arrakis and House Atreides before the Duke can ally with the Fremen. Despite anticipating a trap, the Atreides cannot repel the Harkonnen invasion, which is supported by the Emperor's special forces, the fearsome Sardaukar. Their headquarters are on fire and in great danger while the Atreides family is held captive. Dr. Yue cries in distress and guilt because of his betrayal. While Duncan attempts to save Paul and his family, he meets his demise in the process. Paul witnesses his death, but he is helpless as they are still kept captive by their opponents. The Baron comes face to face with Dr. Yue and makes fun of him for falling for his scheme. Shortly after, the Baron orders Peter to kill Dr. Yue in cold blood, but the thought of avenging his wife's death remains with him. Meanwhile, two guards transport Jessica and Paul, but the latter uses his voice, a power he can use to manipulate. He orders one of the guards to remove his mother's gag, and he magically abides. Jessica orders the guard to kill his partner with the same manipulating power, so the mother and son duo takes control of the spacecraft. When Leto is in his dying breaths, he attempts to assassinate the Baron using the poison gas capsule inserted in his tooth by Dr. Yue, but fails. The chemicals in his body have fogged his mind, preventing him from thinking straight. He kills Peter instead of the Baron, which makes the latter reflect on his safety. With her telepathic abilities, Jessica realizes that Leto is dead, and she grieves in pain. They continuously travel to the vast desert and take refuge in a small cave-like rock formation. At that moment, Paul has the time to reflect on his future and true purpose. His psychic abilities are becoming more advanced, even foreseeing his mother being pregnant with his little sister. Paul promises that he will avenge his father's death and bring down the reign of the Emperor and the Baron. In the headquarters, the Baron and his men have claimed power. Peter's duties as the Baron's valet and aide are taken up by Captain Nefud, the Baron's head of security. Dr. Kynes is seized and left to perish in the desert as the Baron sees him useless for the operations. Thufir is forced to take over as the Harkonnens' director of spice mining, while Rabban becomes Arrakis' de facto governor. All the while, Paul and Jessica are risking their lives to reach the mountain rock to seek refuge. Along the way, a huge worm attacks them, and the sandstorm is making everything worse. They manage to hide in a small section of rocks, but the worm is still seeking them. Shortly after, the giant worm leaves them, and Paul realizes that they're not alone, and it's about to attack someone else. As they explore the desert, they join a Fremen band led by Stilgar. Jessica gains their respect by defending herself and holding Stilgar at knife point, while Paul meets Chani, a lady from the tribe. Paul recognizes Chani from his dreams and is captivated by her beauty. The Fremen believe Paul is the leader they've been waiting for, and he takes the name Muad'Dib. As part of the tribe, Jessica consumes the water of life to replace the Reverend Mother of the Fremen's Bene Gesserit. Her eyes bleed, and the poisoned water causes her convulsions and early labor. Yet the sacred water transmutation wakes her understanding. As they stay with the Fremen tribe, Chani shares an intimate and romantic relationship with Paul, who claims to have dreamed of her for so long. Paul trains the Fremen how to use the weirding modules to combat. In return, Paul is trained in Fremen traditions by Stilgar to cope with life on Arrakis. The men from the tribe stand behind him as they witness a pivotal moment in his life. Paul rides his first sandworm after summoning it by sound, and he attaches the rope to the vicious beast. They begin to sabotage the spice mining industry to disturb their enemies' operations on the precious planet. They successfully carry out their mission. As the Baron becomes more intimidated by their strength, he hears the name Muad'Dib and becomes curious about the person behind such power. For 2 years, Muad'Dib and the Fremen brought spice production to a standstill successfully. In fear for his life, Rabban did all he could to hide their losses from the Baron. Meanwhile, Paul's sister, Alia, has aged quickly and has blue eyes because of the spice and the water of life her mother consumed. She grows as a young girl with unimaginable powers, while Paul becomes a renowned leader on the planet. During a battle, Paul runs into his former mentor, Gurney, now a smuggler. Gurney surrenders and joins Paul and the Fremen to continue the war and keep the stranglehold on spice production. The guild urges the Emperor to intervene because Muad'Dib has stopped spice production on Arrakis. They do not know his face or identity, but Muad'Dib threatens the Emperor's reign. That night, Paul dreams and realizes that the guild wants to kill him because they're afraid he'll drink the water of life. He foresees the Emperor attacking Arrakis and informs Chani about such alarming news. Paul can no longer see his future after the vision and decides to drink the water of life. Paul, accompanied by Chani and a posse of bodyguards, travels to the desert, drinks the water of life, and falls into a coma-like state. He is transformed and obtains control of the sandworms of Arrakis and the secret of the spice after literally and symbolically awakening. He's learned that the Fremen's water, buried in massive stockpiles, can be utilized to eliminate the spice permanently. When Paul looks into space and sees the Emperor's plan, he can see the future, and, more significantly, the present. A massive invasion fleet has been assembled above Arrakis to reclaim control of the spice and the planet. The Fremen prepare for combat and are more than willing to face their oppressors. They have learned how to summon and control the worms as allies and use the beast to their advantage. When the Emperor lands on Arrakis, he puts the inept Rabban to death for failing to solve the spice problem. He then reprimands the Baron for being useless in their mining operations. Shortly after, the guards bring Alia hostage, and she delivers an important message. According to her, Paul is coming for them and reveals that he is Muad'Dib. Everyone in the room is speechless about her revelation, and Alia smirks at their surprised faces. At the capital city of Arrakeen, Paul leads a final attack against the Emperor and the Harkonnens. They blast a large section of the shield wall that defends the city from the desert's ravages with atomic weapons. Paul leads the raid, riding through the breach on sandworms with the Fremen. The Emperor and his men immediately prepare for the unforeseen battle and get on with their more advanced equipment. Although the Emperor has more men, they manage to shield themselves with the gigantic worms. They use Paul's techniques in battle, which advances their abilities compared to their opponent. Meanwhile, Paul gives Alia a telepathic signal to manipulate the Baron and release him into the desert. He levitates into the air, and a gigantic worm eats him alive. Paul and the Fremen warriors defeat the Emperor's Sardaukar forces in a climactic and violent battle, with massive deaths on both sides. The captive Emperor, Princess Irulan, and their staff are confronted by Paul, Jessica, Alia, Stilgar, Gurney, and their army. As the Emperor refuses to accept defeat, Paul challenges Fade to a duel once and for all. Everyone watches as the psychotic Fade shouts at Paul that he will meet his demise. After a short fight, Paul finishes Fade by planting a blade in his neck and uses his vocal powers to kill him. Paul confronts the vanquished Emperor, deposes him, and proclaims a new period of peace for all of humanity. As he accepts the throne, storm clouds form, and Arrakis experiences its first rain in existence. Everyone is both in joy and disbelief of water from the sky finally touching their skin. As everyone thinks it's impossible, Alia declares that Paul is a Kwisatz Haderach, the super being after all.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.